We're going to be starting with the first story, which is CHRAJ criticizing the Ayawaso West Wagon MP over food distribution. And we actually have an article on that topic on ChannelOneNews.com. Distributing food to voters in queue amounts to corruption. CHRAJ slams Lydia Alhassan, the commissioner of the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ. Dr. Joseph Whittal has slammed the actions of Lydia Alhassan, the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon, for distributing food to voters in the queue during the special voting exercise on Monday, December 2, 2024. The incident, which took place at the Legon Police Station Police Center, sparked public criticism after a video showed Alhassan and her constituency's women's organizers sharing food with voters. This act has raised concerns about the potential for voter influence and the electoral ethics. In a media address, Dr. Whittal stated that such actions were tantamount to corruption as they could unfairly influence voters during the election process. The CHRAJ commissioner emphasized the importance of maintaining integrity in elections and urged political figures to refrain from actions that could undermine the fairness of the democratic process. I quote, "It is not right to share food or money with anybody in the queue in preparation to vote. It is tantamount to corruption and integrity issues." So having seen that it could happen to even security officials, we have always assumed that this will not be the case. It never happened in the past, but this time around, it seems that it happened, so we will factor that into our next election, he stated. All right, so there you have it. So now, obviously, CHRAJ has obviously raised concerns over the MP's alleged food distribution. How does this actually align or contradict with the rules governing elections?
And so good morning to you once again and to our viewers. I mean, let me commend CHRAJ for actually slamming the unethical actions of the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon, and to appeal to CHRAJ that it is not enough to just slam and leave it at that.
Exactly. Because
you see, there are rules governing the elections. And so if on camera, broad daylight, we see persons violate the very rules, right, quote and unquote, they make, because she's a lawmaker.
Yes.
So if you see a lawmaker, I mean, rubbish the law in such levels of disregard, it should tell you something about the NPP. But let me also add that I would condemn the act with all the consciousness of electoral, ethics that I know from whichever political party. And so if there is evidence of any political party, including mine, in the same act, caught in the same act, I think the same energy, the same, consciousness should be used to condemn the act. And to also add that this happened with no less people than security officers.
Yes.
And that makes it even grievous. One, a lawmaker. Two, a law enforcer. And then both of you aid and abet and break the laws. Now tell me the moral audacity. Tell me the justification that the security services or even the Member of Parliament, Honorable Lydia Alhassan, would have to condemn same acts. Let's not also forget, and I repeat, I've said here and I would repeat, that the NPP is the example of everything bad in this country. Name all the vices in elections and in other places, you'll find the NPP wanting. Remember in February, when Dr. Kingsley Nyaku, the MP for Kwadaso, was seen on video placing a white envelope on the table of electoral officers from April up until today. Unless maybe you are a media person and can tell me that this is where the case has traveled to. It just led to a public outcry. the institutions who are responsible can till today not tell us that. So this was what was in the envelope. And then the person who actually bribed or gifted, no matter the words the NPP want to give to that, who bribed or gifted as far back as April, has been either, punished, or a certain deterrence has been served. All that happened was public outcry. All that happened was a certain media discussion about it. And I think that beyond the media discussion, the laws must work. Now, you see, beyond that, I'm also very happy that for us as the NDC, we are a law-abiding political party. And so our parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wuogon, John Dumelo, and our legal team in the constituency has actually filed a complaint with the Office of Special Prosecutor. We would follow it up and ensure that due processes, investigations are conducted, and where anybody is found culpable, the person is punished to serve as a deterrent to others. But then you also see, sometimes I think that people want to defend that, well, they are standing on the sun, I was giving them water. Somebody should make it make sense that this act of Madam Alhassan should be defended. It is not defensible by day, it is not defensible by night. But maybe the media, the security services, they need a reminder. Yeah. I just pray that it is not the rotten moshosho rice that has been cooked for them. I just pray that that moshosho rice was not cooked with dirty galamsey water. Because if you are in a queue to vote, and someone gives you what is supposedly a foreign material to carry to the ballot box, to carry to the voting booth, and this event happened, one, with security persons at a security premises, a police station of all places, and they looked on. Is the police telling us that they didn't see? Until today, no arrest, no invitation, nothing. Now, do you know what even makes it nauseating? The acts aside, it is the lies. It is the lies that you are caught on camera sharing food and water, or sharing a package and water. And then when the media questions while you are actually violating the very laws you make as a legislator, you go on to say that I wasn't here. I don't know if you saw me. I'm not the one. Really? But you see, it should tell you that the lies in the NPP is very infectious. It actually transcends from their flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and down to persons like we have seen, Madam Alhassan, who you have caught on tape, right, gifting out whatever content was in the bag, but will stand and say that it is not the case. It should tell you. Now, if you interpret our laws well, her action, I'm sure you've discussed here, amounts to treating. That breeds corruption and corruption-related activities. And so I come back to my point that it is not okay for CHRAJ to just say that I am slamming or I'm condemning the act. Beyond the condemnation, what happens? Now, what will also happen to me if I decide that on the day of elections, I would wear an NDC t-shirt to the polling station? You know, it violates electoral rules. But which of the police officers, which legislator would have that moral audacity to say that I am flaunting an electoral rule? I think that what she should have done, right, was to actually apologize and forbid herself from doing that. But one thing is that I am happy that it happened in the special voting. Let us use that as a test case going into the main election, and let the security forces be alert that they should not condone, they should not aid and abet actions, the precedent, the very bad one that has been set in this special voting by the NPP. They should not condone it from the NDC. They should not condone it from any other political party. Because the more they look on helpless, the more people full-chested want to actually violate the laws. And I don't think it all goes well for our democracy. But in landing, I would appeal to the good people of Ghana that you see, let not the food, let not the water, let not the white envelopes, like we saw in the case of Dr. Kingsley Nyaku, buy our conscience. Beyond that, let us vote for a leader that has experience, that has been tried and tested, a leader that was able to stabilize the city, a leader that would not make a mockery of your situation, a leader that would not actually overborrow, and then a leader that would not misapply the taxpayers' money. And that leader is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Right.
The NPP and the NDC are not the same. The distinction is clear. We have a superior candidate, we have a superior message, and the good people of Ghana would give the NDC another nod in government. Trust me, next week we'll be here discussing the victory of the NDC, inshallah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, joining us is actually Ellen Amma Daaku, who is an MPP communication team member. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Fine,
All right, thank you for joining us. All right, so we were discussing about the issue of the Ayawaso West Wagon over the food distribution, and obviously CHRAJ coming out to criticize them. So I asked Na, how does this actually align or contradict with electoral processes governing Ghana?
You asked now.
Yeah,
You haven't
so
asked me.
so I'm asking you the same thing, right?
Honestly, I have been traveling and doing quite a lot of campaigning on the ground, so I'm just hearing about this. What's the beef that Honorable Lydia Alhassan shared water?
Yes,
and food. And so it goes against the electoral
It
rules.
is actually against the law. I'm sure you know that, right?
And if it goes against the law, her counterpart or her opponent had gone to report it.
Actually, under the Ghana's Representation of the People Law 1992, Section 34 addresses the offense of treating, which is closely related to vote buying. Specifically, Section 34 states a person commits an offense of treating if they corruptly, by themselves or through another person, before, during, or after an election, give or provide or pay wholly or in part for any meat, drink, entertainment, or provision to or for any person, for the purpose of corruptly influencing the person or another to vote or refrain from voting, or on account of the person or another having voted or refrained from voting, or being about to vote or refrain from voting. A person who commits the offense is corruptly accept or to take any such meat, drink, or entertainment offered in the circumstances and for the purpose mentioned above. Engaging in such practices is considered as corrupt electoral offense under the Ghanaian law and is subject to legal penalties. So yes, it's an offense.
So let's report her and let them send her to court.
So you agree that she should be reported?
It's as simple as that. If you think somebody has broken the law, report her. I don't see why this one too would turn into a banter.
Well, it's turning into a banter because she's an MP and she's a lawmaker.
Report her. It's as simple as that. I did hear her opponent, John Dumelo, insulting her all over the place. She's stupid and she's... I mean, when you find out that somebody is going against the law, you don't insult the person. We are in an election. You think that she has broken the law. You go straight up. Yes, you make your concerns heard, and then you report to the appropriate authorities, which I hear that he says he has reported. You don't go around insulting everybody about it. He has a tendency, he in particular has had a tendency of insulting this particular woman all over the place. I just think that it's much ado about nothing. That is my personal opinion. If you think or anybody else thinks that she has broken the law, that is why we have the agencies. And you just don't report it. You have to report the police officers or the prisons officer, whoever was also receiving it, because according to what you read,
according to everybody is culpable.
So report all of them and then let the law take its course whilst we move on. I really don't see what the noise making is
all right,
about.
but personally, do you see a problem in it, in her actions?
As at this point, how do you ask me personally? You said it's against the law. I haven't read the law.
No,
I haven't read it.
So you didn't know?
You said it, and so if you think that she's going against the law, you send her to the appropriate authorities.
After having read everything, do you now agree?
I am not the law. Neither am I the court. So
Right.
send her to the law. You cannot accuse anybody of anything. I mean, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. So gather all the evidence, send it to the appropriate place, and let them take her to court. It's as simple as that.
Right. And
My opinion in this doesn't matter. It won't change anything.
oh, really? Okay. All right. So now, what measures will actually be taken to address this issue, especially from the side of the NDC?
The law is not in the bosom of the NDC. What the NDC can do is what the NDC has done.
Right.
Ours is to report. Ours is to show the evidence to the appropriate authority or authorities. We have done that. We will leave it to them to decide whether they want to enforce it, whether they want to investigate, or what have you. But then you see, I think this morning Ghanaians should be worried at attitudes that seeks to actually play little some of the issues we've seen. And I'm sure as we speak, the videos must run.
Oh, it is
So
running.
that it is running good. So that our viewers are aware that it is not because somebody is actually staging or somebody is trying to throw dust at anybody. It is because a member of parliament, a legislator, one who legislates, one who makes the laws, has in broad daylight broken the same laws. But you say, Chris, granted that she is not even tied to this practice, this unethical practice. As a stakeholder or as a partaker in the election, if in your presence the law is broken, I mean, in such levels, what is expected of you? So granted that even in the face of her lying, that I wasn't there. Meanwhile, we are seeing you there. And you are saying that I wasn't there. So granted that you are not even in charge, or you are not responsible for the sharing. But it is in your presence, and you are seeing other people share, other people influence, other people induce electorates, and you look on helpless. Is that what we are being told to understand this morning? That nobody sees that there's something wrong with it. And like I said in my submission, the law must deal with anybody, whether high in society, whether low in society, whether rich, whether poor, who actually violates our electoral laws. I'm sure your media house has reported incidents of people having been arrested for voting and taking pictures.
Yeah.
Does that mean that going into this election, different rules apply to, for example, ordinary citizens, and different rules applies to the NPP? Is that what we are being made to understand? That because she's a member of the NPP and the NPP is in government, we should play this as little? And then when somebody goes into the voting booth and the person takes a picture of his ballot, which of course is condemnable, the person is arrested with immediate effect. But this one, the special voting was on when? Monday. Monday has passed. Yesterday has passed. Today will pass. And like I'm saying, maybe it will slide like that of Dr. Kingsley Daaku, just slid away like that without anybody acting. Because at the end of the day, you can't fight yourself, can you? When I say you can't fight yourself, what I'm saying is that the security services who are actually supposed to be enforcing the arrest, among others, or investigating, they are those who are being induced. So what action would they take against themselves? And so in this, by the time you're actually inviting Madam Lydia Alhassan, you are inviting the security persons who actually took the food for questioning. Yeah. Because I'm sure, per their training, they should know by now that such inducement amounts to corruption and corruption-related activities and does not translate into a certain free, fair, and credible election. Okay. That's just the position of the NDC.
All right, no problem. So